There are so many reasons why today is not the day for me to document a what's out now, partly because it's really sunny and photographing in this sun is always a bit tricky. Also, almost all of my flowers are being preserved for seed saving, and also I have a lot to do because Christy came and shared the new designs for the kitchen garden, and I really should be digging out hedges, but I can't wait. So I'm going to show you what's out now. This is the studio courtyard, which is just about to have a bit of a glow up actually, but the courtyard is a great one for the self-seeders. See some teasel there, some oxeye daisy, and these incredible Dorcas carota. So I am going to sell the seed of this, but I'm probably going to have to say it might come out a bit muddy because there is a Dorcas next to it which has the Dara colouring, which is the chocolate. But look at the seed heads. The seed heads are just so fun. Just so fun. And not looking its best because I have stripped all of the seed off it is the Bryza media that I just have in a sink down the side of the beautiful studio. We have the paint for the studio. It is going to hopefully be done next weekend. Just going across this wild area that I've spent a lot of time clearing and going into the flower field. Now this first bed looks an absolute mess, but I would just draw your attention to my entire Nigella crop, which is in here. And I've sort of let everything else go really. So we've got yet more beautiful Dorcas carota. This rose, Kew Gardens, is having a bit of a third, fourth flush. It's such a favourite. But lots of seed has already been harvested out of here. The foxgloves were in here. I'm adding white to the shop. This one did a bit of a funny distorted thing, so I chose not to include that in the seed. But the Nigella will be harvested, I think, next Biodynamic Flower Day. Always the echinops. There's always echinops everywhere for me. Again, the bees love it. We've got another week before it comes out. This lovely, very sweet Japanese anemone. So often Japanese anemones can be quite thuggy, but this one's actually quite delicate and quite lovely. We've got big chicory here, which is looking really lovely. I might cut some of this because I have loads of seed for it and it's quite a big plant. And as you know, if you've read next door's chickens, if you have read my love letter to chicory, it does that thing where the petals close in the night and open in the day. So I put it in my bedroom because it goes to sleep, which I just think is so lovely. This corner I'm really pleased with. It's probably got another 2 years before it looks really good, but this is all the perennial planting. Finally, the rusty foxgloves. Such a good height. And I was really pleased that these came back because I wasn't sure that they would. Lovely hollyhocks here. So this corner is meant to be very rusty. So we've got the Sanguisorba. It's a self-sown Stipa gigantea there actually. And some of the things aren't rusty at the moment. Abelia grandifolia, but will be over time. The other area that I think is looking really lovely is this bit, which is all mustard and custards and golds. So there's lots of yellow. The Aquilegia is still going. I mean, it's just been amazing. Now, I hadn't intended to include blues. Obviously, blues and yellows do look quite lovely together. But nature has, in its wisdom, given me more echinops here, but also some self-sown borage. Usually there's borage everywhere, so I just pull it out. But actually, the bees are struggling so much this year. I have left it in because I just think they need all the help they can get. And I do sell borage seed as well, obviously, and it sets seed like absolute billio. But just to stop it being too perky and a bit IKEA-ish, we have got some lovely dark perennials in here as well. This has, unfortunately, is the one area I can't get on top of the ground elder. But anyway, and the whole perennial bed all the way around is encased by this amazing fence that we did in the spring, which I'm loving. And then gateway through to the orchard. My troublesome quince tree, as ever. Not a single quince. Not a single quince. Not looking very happy. Not quite sure why. So just wanted to show you the allotment area, which I've been avoiding showing you because it wasn't doing anything. And I know it still looks like not quite what I would expect. We have got a lot of very new plants in here as well. I did a resow, I think, the beginning of June, and actually they are really coming up. But I finally have enough sweet peas to not feel embarrassed to call myself a sweet pea farmer. Bix on this side, and then all this side is Piggy Sue. So bright, I hope you can see. I have actually just cut some. I promised myself I absolutely wouldn't. I couldn't resist. And again, there's probably another 30 plants in here, which were sown at the beginning of June as well, which hopefully will get themselves going and mean that by October, I'm still collecting seeds in September. So hopefully by the end of the season, we will have enough seed to not write off the whole year. Gosh, it is blazing sunshine. I know you should never ever cut flowers when you can feel the sun on the back of your neck, but these are not flowers for weddings. These are not flowers for anything except my kitchen table and just a photograph for you. So I've just gone and got myself a load of beech. Lots of reasons why I've got beech. 3 big reasons. One of which is I have a beech hedge that goes down between the 2 kitchen gardens, which are the whole hedge is going to have to come out, and I'm really sad about it. I've got lots of other beech in lots of other places, so I'm trying not to feel too bad about it, but I do feel quite guilty. And so I've just come and hacked some branches off before I do the big dig. So here we are. The second reason is I just love beech. Actually, it's the basis for lots and lots of my bouquets and lots of my hand ties and lots of my urns. And the third reason is I haven't felt very excited about flowers for quite a while now, and I love growing them and I love doing everything I do. But I find on Instagram everything just got a bit flat for me, and I was having a cup of coffee, mindlessly scrolling, as we all do, and I came across a Instagram that just stopped me in my tracks. So it's somebody I already follow anyway. It's Catherine Muller Flower School. She's got one in London, one in Paris, and one in New York. And it was just her making the biggest hand tie, like it was huge. And I suddenly went, oh my God, that makes me feel alive again. So we're going to go epically massive in honour of being excitable and excited. I'm going to do an urn. I wasn't going to do an urn today. I was just going to do a Shane Connolly floral box. I don't know if you've seen those. They're just lots of glass containers with lots of flowers in. If you squish them all together, it looks like this incredible block of flowers. But we're not going to do quick urn. I'm going to shove them in. I've got lots to do in the garden. I'm just literally going to shove everything in an urn. My urn is not waterproof. Always have a cup of tea before you start anything. My urn's not waterproof, so I've just been trialing some glass jars. These are 2 different sizes of just Kilner jars that I have. Now, If you have a tall one, if it comes up too high, see me around the roses, things don't splay as well. But I'm really mindful I'm putting a lot, which out there, a lot in this. So obviously I can get more water in this. I will recommend checking your water twice a day. I know, madness. So I'm just going to shove it all in. There's going to be no technique to this. The only other thing I would recommend if you do a lot of flowers is rip up all your carpets and just have wooden floors, hard floors. I've got brick, because then you just chuck everything on the floor. Can't tell you what a difference it makes to life. Obviously no foliage below the waterline because everything just rots and it's awful. Let's take that one off. Try not to cut this down too much because I sort of want it to look a bit like I just shoved it all in an urn, which is pretty much what I'm going to do. It may or may not reach the ceiling. Don't even know which way to put this one in. Let's go for... I haven't used a Kenzan or anything. I really could have done or some chicken wire to hold the shape a bit, but I thought what I would do is just balance out the weight and then fill in the middle. So if you look at Catherine's designs, they tend to be like massive amounts of foliage and quite, the flowers are quite sort of concentrated in the middle. So I'm hoping by the time I get to the flowers, we're going to have enough bulk to hold everything up. A sip of tea. Just going to move this out the way a bit so you can see what I'm doing a bit more and I can see what I'm doing a bit more. Just one more piece to go in. Often you see the back of leaves, is it? So I want to go that way a bit. If I wanted to let this to really last, these are my lovely Nuaki secateurs, you could just cut down the stem a bit so it just drinks a bit better. I'll be honest, this probably isn't going to last that long anyway. Mostly because I currently can't go into my own kitchen through all the branches. So I think, I'm just going to stand where you are to look at it a bit. I think it's a bit heavy in the middle, but we'll see what happens. And now, because I'm using some grasses, I'm going to just, I want that to be a bit further behind. There we go. And then we can build forward a bit. That's better. So much of this is just fiddling. Just fiddling. Oh, it's quite upright. If I do get fed up of not being able to get in the kitchen, I might have to just cut that big branch off. Okay. So we've got some spires. These are the side shoots of the rusty foxglove, which are looking really lovely, and some Calamagrostis. Calamagrostis grass is a bit tricky sometimes to get in, so I'm going to try and put them in as a bit of a sort of a single thing, so there's a bit of a feature. A bit careful not to run out of room. So we've got a lot of weight on that side, so I'm going to just go for it a bit further that side. Goodness, everything's going to fall out. Cut these ones down. There we go. So I don't want them too similar. So they're a bit more upright, echoing that. I don't want to interrupt too much of this negative space as well. So just pulling these out forward a bit. Now, some of the lovely ones that Catherine was doing are, I've not conditioned these roses at all, so they're probably also not going to last very long. They had lots and lots of, I say, like really central, but the amazing thing about these buttercup roses is that their stem length is just insane. So I don't want to cut them down really. I might have to cut some of them down. So we're going to go super big. Don't be afraid to show the back of flowers as well as the front. But I don't want it to look like it's stuck. There we go, so giving it a bit of space around. Isn't this a lovely way to spend Saturday? I do tend to, unless it is actually a foliage plant, I do tend to remove a lot of my green off the actual flowers, but what I am doing is leaving these bits. So we've got buds coming out. This will be a hip soon, and flowers in full growth, which I think will just make it. So that branch, I can already tell that branch is going to be a pain. It's going to get in the way. There's one really thick piece of beech right in the middle. Keep stepping back to look at it. What I should do is come around the back of the camera and have a look at it through the lens on the camera, because you see it completely differently. Right, so I've got some nice tendrily bits, and I think I'm going to have to just be brave, because what I want, gosh, it's so flowering so abundantly, completely tangled on itself. I'm starting to think about this space here. In fact, I might have to cut this down a bit. It's done so well, this rose, this year. I mean, unbelievably well. This is the one that's just in the hedge by the greenhouse. I don't do anything to it. It literally just scrambles. So I might have cut that a bit short, because I'm hoping the bottom of the water's that. I hope it's just going to sit in this space here. Okay. I'm imagining from your perspective, probably there's got a bit of a triangle, which is lovely. Hopefully it's not looking too busy in the middle, but they're a little bit far. There's a lot of stem here. So I want to just connect this bunch here to that bunch. So just having said they're no trouble, there's a bit of bindweed around this one. Okay. I hate cutting these stems. Well, I might have done that a bit short. As long as it's in water though, I have to go all the way in. Did you see that the framework is starting to really support itself now? There we go. Still a bit too much there. I'm going to be really careful with this one, because without going out to fetch some more, this is the last of the roses. So I'm aiming to just bring it up. I don't want it to connect, so it's this big one, but I just do want something over there. That's probably. Okay, let's see how it goes. There we go. Just a bit of a feeling. So space is amazing, and space will do you so many favors in terms of just making it look light and airy. But just look for those that look like holes. It feels like that's a bit of a hole. So just thinking about bringing things down over the rim. Okay. I've got one more which actually doesn't really have any flowers on, but I do like the texture of it, so I'm going to use it anyway. I feel like they've gone a lot that way, so I might just very subtle, like round the back. I think particularly if you're very used to looking at flowers on Instagram, you see them in like just 2 dimensions. So I think it's always worth thinking about bringing them forward and back. Not sure I'm loving this. I was sort of hoping as you go along, things move a bit. That's better. That is really sitting quite upright. Soften it a bit. So very often you sort of fill in the center before you build out the bigger pieces, but I wanted to see what they were going to look like. But I'm just going to add the bronze fennel. Is great because it's tough as boots and it's got a great texture. Sometimes it can look a bit big, and its angles, I mean, look at that, its angles are really crazy. I just thought it had black flower in it, but it doesn't. That's fine. But I just want that gold because I think it just warms everything up a bit. I don't want to over. I was thinking about just taking that one off, but I won't. But you can always go in with proper snips. I'm using secateurs at the moment, but proper snips and just edit out if you think, I don't want to snap my beautiful foxglove. Lots of people talk about when's the moment that you know you've done enough, you've got enough in. And I'm already at the, oh my God, I've got to really push to get stuff in. So that usually means I'm selling my tea. I did bring lots of sanguisorbit in, which is a really tall one, which I love, mostly because it was all the way across the path. But I'm not sure. I'm really loving just the very yellow tones at the moment. Some spare calamagrostis to just. So this feels a bit bare, but I'm not sure if that's not quite nice. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it there for a bit, let it settle. I'm going to go and cut some sweet peas, photograph some sweet peas, and see if I want to edit it down. What I've done there is I've just lost all my roses. I always think it's better just to stick loads in, and then you can always cut stuff out. But those roses are the star. I bring back in half an hour and find out that I've just added another 10 yellow roses. Also walk round from this angle, it doesn't look nearly as good there. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to cut some more roses. It feels like there's a real gap there. Probably not from that angle, but I'm going to walk past that side as I go into the kitchen a lot. There we go. Go and have a play.